Hola clase, este video es acerca de los verbos con cambios de raíz. ¿Okay? Los verbos con cambios de raíz. Okay, so these are going to be the first, in essence, series of irregular verbs that you're going to have, okay? The good thing is that you already know a part of the verb. You know the conjugations, okay? Keep in mind that we only have 3 different categories of conjugations in Espanol, right? AR, ER, and IR. Those are the endings, okay? And the conjugations, okay, let's remember the conjugations really quick. Por ejemplo, if we have a verbo como hablar, right? How do we conjugate it? We say, por ejemplo, for yo, we kind of, the ending, forget about the ending, and then we put these endings, right? Hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, hablan. If you have a verbo like comer, right? So we get rid of that part, the ending, right? ER ending, and then we say como, comes, come, comen, comemos. If you have a verbo como escribir, see, that part is the ending. We know that that is telling me that this is the type of conjugations that I have to use, and those are escribo, escribes, escribe, escriben, escribimos. How about that? Listen, escribimos. Okay? So these ones are the same endings, right? Those are the same endings right here. These look very similar, right? This is amos, hemos, imos. Muy bien. So if you notice, if you have hablar, it's going to be yo hablo. Por yo, para yo, it's going to be yo hablo. Here, para tú, comer is going to be comes. Okay? And then, para escribir, is going to be, por ejemplo, ellos escriben. ¿Sí? Ellos escriben. So, the verb is going to be formed of 2 parts. Okay? The parts are something that we call the stem o la raíz. Okay? Y el ending, right? El ending o la terminación. Okay? So, now we're going to look into some verbs that they conjugate the same because we're conjugated in the present tense, but this stem is going to change. Okay? Not for every conjugation, but for most of them. Okay? So, muy bien. Okay. We're going to start with verbs, and this is just a precise list that we have. Okay? Verbs that end or that change from E to IE. Okay? So, one verbo that is very common here is going to be el verbo pensar. Pensar. So let's conjugate pensar. Again, the endings, we already know. It's an AR verb, right? But now, what is going to happen with this stem is that this E is going to change to that IE. Okay? For these pronouns only, right here. These ones. Okay? So the new stem is going to be piens. The ending O. So we form the verb conjugation pienso. Yo pienso. This means to think. Tú is going to be piensas. And then él is going to be piensa. Ella piensa. She thinks. And then ellos piensan. Now here is where nothing is going to happen. We're going to keep the same stem. So this one is going to be pensamos. Muy bien. Okay? So we're going to call these verbs Some people call them boot verbs, okay? Because they form like some kind of shoe, boot, right? Yes. So these two pronouns don't change, but this one we're not gonna go over because we don't do vosotros, okay? Cool. So verbs that behave like this one. Entender. After me go. Entender. So it's gonna be yo entiendo, tú entiendes, and so forth. Comenzar. Yo comienzo, tú comienzas, él comienza. Muy bien. Cerrar. Cerrar. Él cierra, mas nosotros cerramos. Muy bien. Recomendar. To recommend. So it's going to be yo recomiendo, tú recomiendas, él recomienda. Muy bien. And a verb that is high frequency word, del verbo querer. Yo quiero, tú quieres, él quiere. Ellos quieren, but then nosotros queremos. Okay? Following this same structure right here. Muy bien. And then el verbo mentir, which is kind of an exception here, right? So mentir, to lie, is going to be yo miento. See? So mentir is going to be miento. And then mientes. And él miente. And ellos mienten. ¿Sí? And nosotros mentimos. To lie. Okay? We'll say that this is an exception because the verb ends in IR. Okay? And there's very few verbs that have an exception like that, right? They end in IR and they change from E to IE. This is mostly for verbs that end in IR and ER. Okay? Let me give you another exception, okay? El verbo preferir. Preferir. See? So on this one we have el verbo, the form is going to be prefiero. See? E to IE. Prefiero. With mentir is the same, but those two are going to be called exceptions in this case. Muy bien. Okay. Cool. So the other set of changes is when the verb changes from O to UE. Okay? It's going to be the same idea. Okay? I'm gonna give you a verb that is very used in this case, right? Por ejemplo, poder. Okay? To be able to. Okay? El verbo poder. So el verbo poder is going to be following what we did before, right? The same structure that we did before. So it's gonna be yo puedo, and tú puedes, and él puede, and ellos pueden. But again, nosotros is podemos. Only verbs inside are the ones that change. This happens in the present tense, okay? Only present tense. Okay? That shape happens in the present tense. Okay? So verbs that are like this, okay? Verbs that are like poder. Okay? Talk about a few AR endings. Contar. So contar is going to be cuento, cuentas, cuenta, cuentan, contamos. That means to tell. Like when you tell a story. It can also mean to count, when you count money. Okay? Especially you count things, items. Almorzar, to have lunch, right? So, almuerzo, almuerzas, and so forth. Recordar, to recall, to remember, right? Recuerdo, recuerdas, recuerda, recuerdan, recordamos. Okay? And this verb, it's about, it is about cost, right? The cost of something. ¿Cuánto cuesta? So it's going to be cuesta. Usually only use here. ¿Cuánto cuesta? ¿Cuánto cuestan? Okay? It's also used when something is difficult. Okay? Por ejemplo, me cuestan las matemáticas. Okay? Mathematics are difficult to me. Okay? Something like that. All right? So verbs like that are going to be, por ejemplo, encontrar, to find, volver, to return. Okay? And one that is considered an exception here, okay, in this type of verbs, but it's because and it has a no in the stem. It's going to be el verbo dormir, right? Very common, right? Dormir. Yo duermo, tú duermes, él duerme, ellos duermen, mas nosotros dormimos. Okay? Muy bien. The last set is about verbs that end in IR, pretty much. Okay? And the ending is going to be E to I. Okay? See? So, same idea. Okay? But then, it's going to be the conjugation, the ending. Por ejemplo, if we have a verb like medir, so this type of verb is going to be like this. Yo mido, E to I, right? Tú mides, and so forth. Okay? But nosotros is medimos. So same idea, right? Same idea. Okay? To measure. Verbs like that. Repetir. Yo repito, tú repites. And I recommend you to, when you see this verb, say it and also conjugate it. Pedir. To ask for or to order. Very common in español. Yo pido, tú pides, él pide. Servir. ¿Sí? Servir. Yo sirvo, tú sirves, él sirve. Serve, of course, right? Seguir. Means to follow. Okay? See? Now, that's in case for this one, the conjugation is going to be like this for yo. Yo sigo. And then for tú is going to be tú sigues. Because the stem of the verb is segu. But for yo, it's going to have another type of change. Okay? We'll talk about those in another video. Okay? So, sigo, sigues, sigue, siguen, and this one is going to be seguimos. Okay? This verb means to follow, okay, when you're following instructions, for instance, but this one means to get, conseguir, and it conjugates the same, but with the con in front of it. Consigo, consigues, consigue, and so forth. Okay? So, these are los verbos con cambios de raíz. Muy bien. Okay. Chao.